What's up, What the Vet fam? Welcome to another episode of What the Vet. Today, I'm super excited. I have introduced Joyce to a very good friend who I've known for a very long time and is responsible for success in my shelter career. Thank you so much. We're joined by Krista Bowers. She is a Jane of all trades in vet med. She's going to talk to us today about opportunities and things that she's done outside of the clinical medicine role in veterinary medicine as a certified veterinary technician. So, Krista, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you started, what you do. You don't have to use names of any companies or anything like that. You can keep that all on the DL if you'd like, and just tell us about you.
First, you're going to make me cry.
She makes me cry all the time. It's okay.
And I am a crier, so that was a very sweet introduction. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
But yes, Amber and I go way back, kind of starting out in my out-of-hospital career, but I have been in the veterinary field for about 20 years. I'm going to say about, because if I say 20, it shows my age a little more. But I started as a kennel tech, kennel assistant when I was 18. Kind of worked my way through all areas of the hospital: veterinary assistant, receptionist, veterinary technician once I became certified. Worked at a small animal hospital, a couple of small animal hospitals. Then went to emergency med specialty. And then I was given a great opportunity with a friend / previous veterinarian that I worked with at the emergency hospital that wanted to open her own veterinary hospital, and she asked me if I wanted to join her, and I said I have no idea what I'm doing, but sure, that sounds fun, let's do it. And I was with her for the last 7 years that I worked in a hospital. We opened 3 hospitals, essentially, one small animal and then an emergency hospital that kind of operated out of the same building. We just had emergency hours and day practice hours. And then she found another off-site building for another emergency clinic that she still owns and operates. And so that's pretty exciting. So I helped open 3 with her. Then I just got burnt out after 12 years of working in a hospital, as I think many people can relate to. So I decided I was going to go back and get my bachelor's, so I could have other opportunities within the vet field. So once I completed that, I was able to be a sales rep for a company kind of based on the East Coast of the country. Did that for about a year, realized sales was not my jam. Didn't really like trying to sell things that were crap to veterinarians and that honestly weren't really beneficial to hospitals and patients. And then I was at a conference and I was actually approached by some people that I had worked with when I still worked in hospital, let them know I was not working in the hospital anymore. They asked me if I was happy with what I was doing. And I said, not really, but I got to do what I got to do. And so they called me about a week or 2 later and asked me if I wanted to do software implementation trainer for cloud-based veterinary software. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. Why not? And did that for about 4.5 years. Was one of their senior implementation specialists when I left, but I decided I wanted to try to get back into more of the hospital without actually working in the hospital. So I saw an opportunity for vet hospital setup manager for a company, for a bigger company, and applied and was able to get that role. And I helped open veterinary hospitals for this company for about 2.5 years, and then transitioned to another company doing something very similar, but a little bit more of a step up. And so I still help open brand new hospitals. So I partner very closely with doctors and hospital managers to help build their team, make sure they have licensing, marketing, recruiting, pretty much anything you need to open a hospital. I kind of help facilitate and make sure they have everything together. So
That's awesome.
That's what I do now.
That's awesome.
So you said that you wanted to transition back more to like a hospital type setting versus like being like in the hospital. So then what does do you go to the hospital that is being built? So like you just fly, you bebop around and then go, or like how does that work? Because that's
Yes,
foreign land
so
for us.
Yes. So there's a couple visits that I will do. So first visit will usually be with the real estate team. So we'll walk the
Okay.
hospital, kind of what we call the final punch walk per se. So you just kind of walk around and tell the GC a bunch of stuff he needs to fix before they can tell us they're done. And usually it's, paint touch-ups here, you're missing baseboard here, we need to flip that door handle here, could be little things, could be big things, but usually we'll have the doctor and the hospital manager with us during that visit too, just to make sure that everything is in order before they officially hand over the keys and say that they're done. So that's my first visit. And then the second visit, I usually go on site for a week and I'm there with the hospital manager, the doctor, and the team. And I kind of help them put together the final touches of the hospital, make sure they have everything they need to open and operate for day one. I do a lot of training with the team. So we do go through their PIM system, their practice management system, several times so that they're feeling as comfortable as they can. Talk about standard operating procedures, standards of care, just kind of expectations of medical quality, expectations of patient care, client interactions, pretty much anything that you can think of that we would want to touch on before opening, we do. A big thing again is just getting comfortable with the software and making sure they have everything they need. So we do a lot of kind of mock clinic scenarios where we'll kind of role play as clients and patients and
Hmm.
the receptionists, VAs, VTs, and we pretend like we have this pet here for vomiting and diarrhea, and we go grab everything that we would need for that so we can make sure we have it. It's maybe in a sensible spot for the workflow that they're thinking they're going to do, and just kind of pivot and see if we need what we need to adjust before opening.
That's awesome.
How often do you go back? Like once the practice is like up and running? Sorry, my dog may start barking.
That's okay. That's white noise to me, is dog barking.
I'm like, where is she going? Squirrel. So once the practice is open, say it's been open for a couple of months, like how do you go back? It's like they're open, your portion of that project is done, or no?
No, that's a great question. Yeah. So when I first started, I would go back, a month or two after to see how they're doing. Now we've kind of implemented regional leadership on our team. So usually after about 30 days of them being open, I kind of fade out. And the only time I
Okay.
really ever go back is if I have another hospital or something, or if I'm in the area and I just stop by.
Okay.
But I still keep in touch, with the doctors, the hospital managers, all of them. But usually after 30 days, I'm fade into the background and go to the next project or the
And then
next
you just go on to the
hospital.
next one. Honestly, that sounds like, okay, hi, Allie. That sounds
So
honestly like the best portion of the program because you're like, okay, my job's done. I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah, I'm
On
like,
to the next. I'm like,
how
are
would
y'all
one,
hiring?
right? How would one get into that? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I was like, y'all.
I was
Yeah,
going to say
right.
we did just hire a third project manager, so we
Are you
probably
looking
will
for a
hire
fourth?
for another one soon.
Right? Do they need a receptionist?
I need
That's
Now,
someone
are
to
you
keep
mainly
my
like
notes and
remote
send
based
everything.
otherwise though? Unless you have to fly, like go out to the other one, so you normally would just work from home then?
Yes, so I work from home and then travel. Travel's about 50 to 60% of the year.
Okay.
See, that's awesome. Like you have your certification, you have your bachelor's, you're still in the field, but you're not. I'm sure what you do is very challenging and can be very stressful. But like on your body, like you're not
Hmm.
wrestling dogs for $15 toenail trims for $19 an hour. Like you're
You're
doing the
not getting
thing.
told that you're
You're
heartless and you don't care about animals.
yeah, you're still in the field. You're still watching out for your patients. Like you said, your standard operating procedures, your standards of care, things like that. Like the things that you set out to do when you went to school, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're actually getting to do those things
Yeah.
still, but just not the physicality.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Dream
I
job.
still miss drawing blood, putting in catheters, all those things.
Yeah.
I miss like the back of the house stuff where you get to do
Hmm.
everything.
That'll
Um,
never leave you.
so every once in a while I'm like, can I draw that? Especially if we're doing, because we do training a lot with the vendors, of course, for lab work, X-rays, all those things. I'm like, let me do something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow. Do you miss the cases, like the challenging cases that you have to figure out with the doctor and going over the blood work and be like, oh my God, I know what this is, but I'm not going to say
I
anything to see if
do.
the doctor knows. You know what I mean?
I do. I still feel like sometimes they're talking about stuff and I'm like, what is that?
What?
I don't
Right.
like, I've not heard of that medication because I'm not in the day to
Yeah.
day. So like there's new
Yep.
medications that come out and I'll be like,
Yeah.
like,
what is
so I'm,
Yeah.
I do that now. I've been out for 3 years, and Amber will mention a drug, and I'm like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
yep.
And I'm like, "Okay, let's go to Dr. Google. What
Mhm.
does
I
this
know. Usually
medication
I'll just
do?"
straight up ask the doctor. I'm like, I saw you put this on the order. Like, what is it? What does it do? Tell me all the things.
Yeah.
So
Matter of
same
fact, give
with,
me the detailer. Just give it to me.
yeah, I just need, and then, I was at a hospital recently and they have, IDEX has now like T4s with SDMAs.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the SDMA? And so the doctor was telling me, I was like, oh, where was this with my Papillon? Like a couple of years ago when he
Yeah.
passed a kidney disease.
Yeah. And you caught it, like, I'm not saying, but like something like the SDMA could have been very helpful for her.
Oh
Very
yeah,
helpful.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was tough.
She was so
So
sweet.
So how far, like after you got out of school with your associates into the field, did you go back and get your bachelor's and was like, this isn't being in the field isn't long-term goal? How far, like from point A to point B was that?
I would say probably 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, I probably had a 4 year gap in between because I'm not a fan of school. School was a means to an end. It was not something I
Yeah.
necessarily enjoyed or was probably very good at. But it was probably about 4 years. So, and I did everything online. So I did my AS and then I did my bachelor's all online and I did it through St. Pete College. So, and it was wonderful. I would recommend it to anybody if they're thinking about it. Look into the St. Pete College.
Hmm.
They
Yeah, no, they do a phenomenal job.
they
Yeah,
have a
they do.
phenomenal
Excuse me.
program. That's where I did my CV, my practice management stuff through was St. Pete. I started on the
Yeah.
technician track, and then I'm like, I'm not going to be physically able to do this very much longer. I'm
Yep.
not going to make any money, so I'm going to transition to the management track. And they are phenomenal people. We actually have a friend that's a professor over there.
Hmm.
They're great. And then
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh my God, you did your tech school online? Like, do you know?" Yeah, they prepare you. They challenge you. I mean, I'll be honest. Like some
Yeah.
of my textbooks still have cellophane on them, but that's because of years of experience. You know what I mean? Well, like, come up with a case. What was your? I need a GI case study for this week. No, I'm just gonna come up with my own. I mean, like it is what it is, but it's a phenomenal program.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they do make you do a lot of hands-on, so
Mm-hmm.
you need to be working in a hospital or volunteering because they will make you, at least when I was in school, had to take videos, had to get
Yeah.
things signed off, you had to show actual proof that you completed these.
Yeah, I had a friend that was in the large animal section, and so she came out and did stuff on my horse at the time, and I had to film her doing stuff and everything for the St. Pete program. And she was like, "You don't mind me stabbing your horse?" I was like, "Nah, he needs the experience. Go for it.
Oh,
He's great with needles."
yeah, when I had to do that, oh my gosh. So I had a friend at the time. She worked in the hospital as well. She was a receptionist and she had a horse that was like 20 something years old. She's like, you could do anything to this horse. This horse doesn't care. Just come over. And then I had my other friend who was a CBT because she could sign off for me. She was a CBT. And
Yeah.
large animals, not my jam. I mean, where I live now, like we have a bunch of cows and horses and stuff around me. They're not ours. They're like our neighbors and the farmers and stuff. I love petting them, giving them treats, and then I
Yeah.
don't want to ride them. I don't want to do anything with them. I'm going to like do a jugular stick on this horse, and it sneezed, and I jumped about 20 feet backwards. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. He's like, it just sneezed. And I was like, I know, but it could kill me.
Yeah.
It was like the most
It could,
terrifying thing. So
Listen,
large animals not my
fears
jam.
little. No.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I get it. I have a horse that tries to bite on a routine basis, so like I get it. He has a command that says no nibbles, which means he's getting ready to actively try to bite something, and I go no nibbles, and he's like, so like I get the fear.
Yeah, our neighbor has two horses that he rescued from a horse rescue a little bit away, and their names are JJ and Ziggy. And I
Oh,
give them their daily treats. They get carrots and apples every day, and I love them because they come up to the fence. I give them their treats. They let me pet them, and then they go away. And I'm like, this is perfect.
and
And then we do it again in the evening, and they come and they give me nibbles. They let me pet, and then they go away, and it's
yep.
great. I don't have to do all the other care. I just can experience
You
petting
don't have to shovel shit, is the moral of the story.
pretty much. So
And have the
it's
vet
like people
bills.
with always have
And
friends.
have the vet bills.
Yes, yes.
Oof, yeah.
So
So,
So,
go ahead.
nope, you go.
I have a question for you. So, with a technician with your level of education, what career opportunities are out there for somebody that's following your same path?
oh my goodness, there's so many. Definitely having a bachelor's helps.
Is
So
it mandatory, do you think, now, or will soon be mandatory?
that's
It's
tough.
I know it's a hard one.
It's tough. I would say yes if you're looking to get into something where you want to be within the veterinary field, still kind of working alongside hospitals in some type of capacity on an operations level, a leadership level, on a training level, like learning and development level. Definitely having your bachelor's is going to set you apart, because I think a lot of the time, even if you've been in the field 20, 25 years, even just being licensed helps, because a lot of times they're going to just look at your resume, compare it to somebody else. And if there's somebody else that maybe is 10 years and they have their licensing and they have their bachelor's, they're going to most likely go with that one over someone who has
Okay.
more years. But I mean,
Right.
you can do anything from sales if you really want to do sales. No, me neither. I know a lot of people, a lot of CVTs I've seen go into like IDEX for either their lab of like running samples and actually doing the in lab stuff, or they become kind of their field service reps where they come in, they do the training on the equipment, they set up the equipment, they come and do continued education for the teams. I also see CVTs go into kind of the cremation, the aftercare side a lot. And so there's a lot of I think there's a lot of need for that, especially if you've been a CVT, kind of getting into the aftercare. I know the company that we work with is like an umbrella company that they have a lot of the smaller local companies under them. And I do see more CVTs kind of going into that aftercare and being kind of their reps for that company. So they come in, they educate the team on aftercare, the importance of taking care of client grieving.
Hmm.
So they
Yeah.
go into a bunch of, mental health for clients when they're grieving a pet. It's kind of fascinating. I was like, I would have never even thought of that.
No.
One of the places that I worked with, and they were in Tampa, they were newer.
I'm sorry.
No,
I have been waiting episodes for this to happen.
well, I'm
You're not.
honored
You're
it
not.
was mine.
Stop.
I'm waiting for one of mine to come up. Usually Cider will come and hop in my lap when he knows I'm sitting at my desk.
But no, like one of the hospitals, they did like a grieving class once a week at the facility for pet parents
Yep.
to come and like talk about the grieving process, talk about the grieving process and everything like that. And I was like, no one's done that before. And they're like, yeah, no, people show up all every week. At least one person will show up. Some people more than once, but
Yeah, that was something that was eye opening that I've thought
mhm.
about. Like, if something ever happens, like, hey, I might actually look into that, because I
Like
feel
that's
like,
like an interesting little segue of
yep.
something to do.
And
Yeah, no,
I think
it's
it would be very fulfilling, because we know
hmm
none of us who have worked in hospitals or have been a part of just having any type of, putting down their pet or being a part of
yep.
any of those types of, like, that's not what, none of us like it. Like,
No.
it ruins the day. Like, it makes you want to just quit for the day and go home and not do anything
Yeah.
else. I feel like when you have the ability to educate teams on how to provide resources, not only to clients, but also for themselves too, because that becomes very emotionally taxing, is dealing with those types of visits
Mm-hmm.
or often.
Yeah.
And they always seem to come like all at once for some reason. They usually like clump together, those types of visits, and it just is emotionally taxing. So I always found that once I stopped working outside of a hospital and kind of went through opening hospitals and things like that, and I just I work with so many different vendors, the cremation or aftercare opportunities were like, oh, I never would have even thought of that when I worked in
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
yeah.
And I know people are going to ask money wise, like, are you going to be able to retire? Because as like a normal vet tech, we're not going to be able to retire, like working in the hospital at $20 an hour.
Yes. I am
Like, I'm not asking your dollar amount that you make, but like,
I am a salary employee. I do have opportunity for bonus every year. I did actually get my bonus this past year, which was the first time I've ever received a bonus when I've been told
right.
I was going to get one. So that was very exciting. And I cried a lot because I was super happy. And then I do have 401k. I do have health insurance. I do have like HSA. So
Yep.
I have a lot of great benefits as well. I have, really good time off policy. So that's really, so yes, I would say yes, you definitely have the ability to, as long as you're responsible with your money, of course, you can retire even on, I know it's hard when you're a tech, but on opportunities outside of the vet field or outside of the hospital in the vet field, yes, you totally can.
Yeah. So it's possible to still be in the field and be financially okay and have some kind of a financial future. And I think that's something that's more of a novelty than it used to be, because it was either you were a technician or you weren't.
Yep.
There wasn't a lot of other opportunities within the field. And then like when you used to come and talk to the kids for me, I'm like, you need to understand that, guys, that this isn't, you're not either a doctor or a technician, that there's so much broader of a spectrum of things that you could do that we weren't aware of back in the day. You know what I mean? Like when we were younger, oh, I'm either a vet or I'm a technician. And then you took it and ran with it. And there are so many different opportunities that we could be afforded, as long as we obviously pursue the appropriate education and whatnot. But it's mind blowing as to how many opportunities there are outside of the hospital.
Yeah, we could literally probably talk. I could probably ramble off for an hour just because a lot of the, you can get into recruiting for doctors, technicians, veterinary assistants. You can get into marketing. You can get into like a licensing and compliance role with a company, ensuring everything is up to date with their radiation, their DEA, their sharps, all of that. And then just their regular state and county and, local licenses that hospitals have to carry. And that would be most likely when you're working with like a corporate veterinary group that you would get into those types of roles versus like a private sector. But you may have privately owned hospitals that are that big that they do need, or that they own that many of their own private hospitals, they do need people in those departments too. You could even get into HR if you wanted to with a veterinary company as well. So there's many different things. Learning and development too. I see a lot, at least with the company that I'm with now, a lot of the learning and development folks used to be veterinary technicians, assistants, hospital managers. Still carry their license, but now they work on the learning and development. So they create all of the learning resources for team members to go in and learn maybe proper restraint through like a virtual course, or anesthetic monitoring through a virtual course that's offered through our company. So that's really cool. And I think the other thing I found that's really cool is our company offers paid veterinary technician assistants to school. So if they work with our company for a year, they can apply for kind of a scholarship where they'll pay for them to go to an online program. Or if they're already in a program, they'll just kind of take over the payments and reimburse them. But a lot of former hospital staff members are on the team that helps these students go through the program. So by help supporting just, I don't know exactly everything involved, but there's a team that's actually working with these students as their job to assist them with getting through the program, which I think is really cool.
That's awesome.
So
I know I keep saying that's awesome, but like
It's
don't hear
foreign
about this stuff.
territory. I was gonna say, yeah, it's foreign territory to hear. Like, yes, you'll hear that a vet tech went to become a sales rep, and they have their own region, or they're coming in to promote the new drug, for doing things like that. That's as far as really we're exposed to. Lost my train of thought a little bit, because that's just so.
well, I think that's because it's the immediate, like they come into
Yeah,
the hospital, they buy us
yeah,
lunch, they tell us about this
yep,
drug and how it can be helpful. And so that's kind of all that we see of what we could do because
yes.
it's right in front of us.
Exactly, exactly. And so like you always hear like of the mythical nice job out there, but like where would you go like I don't want to say like is there a better like, Indeed or Monster or something like that? Is there one better than the other that you would say that you could help like Google in?
So for me, a lot of it was about connections and
Yeah.
relationships that we had, as we kind of mentioned at the beginning. Laura, who Amber and I met through, that's how I kind of got my first kind of stretch out of the hospital. Was she referred me to take over her role as the sales rep at this company at the time. She was going to a different company, and so she referred me for the role. I still went through all of the interview process, everything like that, but
Right.
it helped. So, and then the second role after the sales for software implementation, I had worked with the owner and his wife. When I worked in hospital, we used their veterinary practice management software. I worked with his wife directly when we were implementing it, doing our data migration, and just got to know them really well. And I think they also saw my work ethic. They saw how
Right.
dedicated I was and passionate I was. So that's kind of why they were like, hey, do you want to come work with us? So that's a big thing for me. Is I try to tell everybody, don't burn bridges. Try to build relationships and try to, everybody you meet could end up having that opportunity or changing your life in some way. And, you just never know.
I was gonna
Um,
say you never know.
yep. And then, the current role that I'm in now, I had a person I was working with who actually knew the recruiter, um, and kind of got me directly in contact with them as well. So I think in the vet field, it's very big, but it's even smaller is
Yes.
kind of how I like to say it. Like it is very big, but it's not. And it's just you need to really cherish everybody you meet and talk to, and not only just to get ahead or for an opportunity, but because this is a fragile industry, I think just with everything.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But yeah, you really do want to, have opportunities and stay in the vet field. It is a lot about relationships and connections and stuff too.
It very much is because, like, to be honest with you, like, I'm not trying to get emotional, but like before you and Laura, like, I was not a rep person. I'm like, what do you have today? Like, come on. I don't want to carry anything else. I don't want to learn about anything else. I'm getting fat with all these lunch and learns. But like, but like with these two, like the relationship that I developed with both of them, and like that was fostered over the years and the connections, like I even stayed close with them for like multiple clinics. Like even Laura came over and seen me in Clearwater. Like when she was up, she's like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Oh my god, it's you!" You know what I mean? Like we ran into each other. Yeah. And then I had lunch with you in Clearwater. Like they taught me very early on that the relationships that you build within this industry are very important. Like not only like do I consider them like friends, you know what I mean? Like I said, we've done things outside of work, but throughout my career, they have been there in one way or another to help. And I hope on one side I can repay that, you know what I mean? But like that relationship skyrocketed me in the shelter in terms of building our inventory, the things that we did, I still remember that cast thing, that hot pad where you put the strips of the cast material in there that you hooked me up with. Oh my god, we were able to do so much for so many dogs with that. Just the things that transpire out of these relationships that you build is limitless. I got so excited about that because I love you guys so much. Keep it together, Krista.
Try.
You're good. You're good. I mean, even Joyce, look at us. Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us. I wanted to box you the first day I met you, and look at us.
In your defense, I told you to get the fuck out of my ICU and shut the door in your face.
Krista,
That's how that was literally our first introduction. I took one look at her and I was like, I got this one. And she was just on her like giving a tour and the practice manager. And she was like, hey, I'm Amber. I'm like, cool, get the fuck out of my ICU and shut the door. And she was like, and then I just started dying. Like she started to shut the door. I started cackling and I was like, no, dude, come on in. I'll show you everything around.
I'm shutting the doors like this bitch.
This bitch.
You know what I mean?
You know what? That's how the relationships happen, is when you think they're a bitch. And then
it is what it is. It is what it is. So we talk about all the outside or the, outside of clinical med things that you've done, opportunities and stuff like that. But I know that you are very passionate about a certain project in the Caribbean. Talk to us a little bit about that, and what that is, what that entails, how people can get involved, donate, things like that.
Absolutely, yes. So I've had the amazing opportunity to work with a group called Caribbean Spay Neuter, and they are a C3. They are all donation based. So what we do is licensed veterinary technicians and veterinarians volunteer their time. We usually will also pay for our flights and accommodations and whatnot, but we will go to, the Dominican Republic, we'll go to Suriname, and we will do spay neuter projects. Usually it's about 4 days of spays and neuters, cats and dogs. And it could be anywhere from pets that are in shelters in those locations. It could be strays. It could be people's owned pets, really just an array. And the last project I did was in June of this year in Suriname. And we spayed and neutered 647 cats and dogs in 4 days. Sorry. Yep. 647. And it's just incredible to see like the impact it makes, because we spayed this family's cat, or neutered this family's cat, I'm sorry, and the little boy wanted to bring us a card, and so he made a hand drawn card and it said, thank you for taking care of, I can't say the name was in Dutch, and then it said, he doesn't miss his testicles.
I love that.
It was the cutest thing. And then like this other lady brought us these like donut things, and they were amazing. They were so good. But it's just you realize like how much they appreciate it, and really how much they need it in those other countries. And I know the organizer Karen of Caribbean Spay Neuter is trying very hard to get into other Caribbean countries, but it's hard, of course, with, you're bringing in DEA drugs and there's a lot of red tape and things like that. But I mean, everything that she is able to provide, she ships all the supplies to these countries for us to do this. And, it all comes from donations. So whether it's like you go to her, she has a Facebook page. She also will accept donations through like Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, all the things. She'll even accept like white goods, especially syringes, needles, gauze. I know some medications it depends, but she'll take suture is big. Usually she won't take it if it's a year past its expiration date. But she'll take physical donations of supplies too. Okay. So she's super appreciative of that.
Do you by chance, I have her email so I can reach out to her, but I wasn't sure if you had those links that maybe we could post on our social media.
Yeah, I can put them in the description too of the YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I can send them over to you. That's no
yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We could kind of blast that out for this, and I actually have maybe an opportunity for you. I'll talk to you about after the podcast. I think that's fantastic. There are so many underserved portions of the world to where when you go in and you do those things, it matters to them, because we don't think of a lot of different cultures as animals meaning as much to them as say our culture does. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they're just as much family members as they are in our culture. And I think that what you guys do is absolutely amazing. And I would love to see that in person. You know, I would love to be there for something like that. But yeah, super excited for you for that.
So, yeah, and I actually got involved with curbing spay neuter from a friend that I met when I went to Africa for, it was a study abroad with my, after I got my bachelor's, it was a study abroad for an alumni trip. But the friend of mine has her own rescue in Tampa also. And so that's how I kind of got involved, because her rescue helps a lot with Caribbean spay neuter, and it's animal lovers.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Animal Lover's
Mhm.
Dream.
In Tampa. Yep.
Animal
Cecilia.
lovers dream.
Yep.
Cecilia. Yeah. Cecilia is awesome. See? It's big.
No,
but
we,
it's
we all know her.
small.
Yeah, I worked with her in the vet tech side.
Yeah.
She's badass. Like
Hmm
I love her so much. She
Yeah,
cracks me up too. Her and her iced coffee.
Yes. Oh my God. I don't think that woman has ever consumed just straight water without coffee in it.
That's
Correct.
awesome.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
awesome.
But yeah, that's how I got involved with Caribbean spay neuter, was through Cecilia. So,
Okay.
and we met in Africa. But like I said, VetMed is very big but very small.
Very small. Yeah. When you
Yeah.
said Animal Lovers, I was like, wait a minute. I know exactly who that is. And we're very big with rescue with both of my hospitals. My doctors love to give back to the community. There's always stuff that we want to do. We actually, one of our veterinarians is a shelter vet, so her and I work very well together when we're thinking about things. We're like, we can do this. It'll be all right. But that would be great to kind of reach out to her and link up and see what we could do, like what we could do for donations and hook them up with some stuff. So I would be really excited to do that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always keeping an eye out for stuff for Cecilia and for Karen at Caribbean
Yeah.
spay neuter.
Well, I mean, we're looking at doing something over here, like stateside, like a Tampa Bay challenge, like a challenge, you know, amongst the shelters. Or we're trying to implement, or maybe some private practices that would like to, you know, spay the bay or something like that, to set a goal for how many we would like to do within a predetermined amount of time in the hospital or the shelter that does the most. Like, try to come up with some kind of reward program or something like that. So maybe she'd be up for helping with that as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And if you need anybody to come down and help,
Organize
I'll
it.
come down. I don't know about organizing, but I'll come down and help. No, well, we can also talk to our friend Laura. She's in Houston. She does a lot with the Empty Shelter Project there,
Okay.
and they'll do mega spay neuter events. One day they'll do like 500. And it's
Joyce, you're coming.
so
Okay.
I actually am I'm planning to go to their one September 20th and help.
Okay.
They have one, but Laura Berg is her name. She does a lot with them in Houston. Yeah.
Sweet.
Pretty crazy. I was like, how do you 500 in a day? But I guess it's become,
Yeah.
they have a lot more veterinarians and stuff than we have.
Once it's doable. If you've got everything set up appropriately and you get your flow down and your team hits a rhythm, you can knock them out, no problem. Especially if you're running multiple tables, multiple machines, you'll knock them out. It's no biggie. I say no biggie because I'm old and I can't do it now, but it's no biggie.
Yeah, I thought that too. When I was in Suriname in June. So they a volunteer built what they call Alcatraz. It's essentially this like just wooden framed structure with like I don't want to say chicken wire. That's what it is. Like chicken wire fencing all around it, and then you have like a door to get in and out, but you can lock it. So that's where I lived for 4 days, was in Alcatraz with Laura's son, who was 16, and we had to sedated all the cats for that project. So like we had all the crazy cats, and that's why that's why we're in there, because of course they come out there and then they're all over the cage. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh man, I miss those days with Dr. White, but I don't miss those days.
Yes, yeah. Luckily we had a cat nabber. We had gloves, so that was good. And it was funny because the kid I was with, he was like, by the end of it, he was I called him a professional cat wrangler. I was like, you got it. I was like, you're a pro with the towel, with gloves, with the cat nabber. Because he had never seen those cat nabbers and stuff before. I was like, oh, wait, let me show you. These are wonderful.
That's too funny. Put that on your resume, kid.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So, yeah, they're fun. That's the other way I can kind of get back into working and kind of fulfilling that need of wanting to be with the pets and do tech things is those projects. So
See, it never leaves you.
no.
It never, you can get out of clinical med, but clinical med never leaves you.
No, I stare at my dog's veins sometimes. I'm like, I want to poke it.
You're like, I can get an 18 in that.
Yeah, I'm like, let me just poke it. Or they're laying down and I'm like, ooh, that's bouncy.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's fantastic. What are you
My
doing
husband's
later?
like, so weird. I know. Let me take you to dinner first.
Right.
Let me. You're like, I feed you anyways. It's fine.
I love it. Yeah. So that's awesome. I'm so glad to see where you've gone, where you're going, and like you doing this hopefully will influence somebody who's in a rut in clinical med that doesn't want to leave the field, that they have other options, that you're not just stuck in the clinic. You're not stuck beating your body every day, or, you know, that you have options to grow and flourish in the field. And essentially there's, you know, always that, oh, I can't retire as a veterinary technician. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You just gotta play your cards right. You gotta set your ducks up, and you can't get complacent in your position. You always gotta want to grow. That's cool to be with a, you know, a GP for, you know, the first 7-8 years of your life, but you gotta break through that ceiling, and you have to want more for yourself, because veterinary medicine offers more than it used to. There's so much more. The possibilities are endless.
Oh yeah. And I think the other thing I would say is try to start looking at the aspects of your current role and maybe like what you think could be better or what you really enjoy. Like, do you really enjoy the lab work aspect, or do you really enjoy like the client education piece? Do you really enjoy making sure the team understands why maybe a certain protocol is in place for the safety of not only themselves or the pets? Like, try to think of every little aspect of your day to day that you do that you enjoy, and then expand on that and see what other types of opportunities are with that in mind. Because I think a lot of people, like you mentioned, just get complacent and they get in a rut and they're just like, oh, I gotta go to work now. Because chances are, like, if you really, you know, or are you someone that really wants to work on efficiency of appointments, efficiency of your calendars, things like that? Because there's lots of roles there where you can look into working with companies that provide those types of services. So there's a lot of
100%.
the different things. You just got to think outside the box a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And in some of these roles, you don't have to deal with clients.
Yes,
Just throwing
that
that
is
out
very
there.
true.
I'm gonna be the jerk
Wink,
to throw it out
wink.
there.
I yeah,
Majority of your clients are fantastic, but then you have some that are like, I don't look good in
yes,
orange. I
yeah,
don't look good in
Mm-mm.
orange. Today is not the day.
yeah, yeah. That is one thing I can say. I not that I don't love. I love people. I do love people very much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much happy though that I don't have to deal day to day with clients and bringing in their pets, because they're. I don't think people understand. I mean, I know that the majority of probably the listeners are work in the field, but for anybody that doesn't, that's hopefully listening, like, I don't think they understand the day to day stress that in hospital teams deal with. And, you know, just saying something as little as you don't care about my pet, like, really cuts to the core
Mm-hmm.
It does.
and
Yeah.
really can destroy someone's, you know, compassion for what they're doing.
That's like an emotional splenic laceration. Like, it's not okay, you know?
Yeah, 100%. One of the reasons why I don't work in a hospital, because I felt like I didn't matter when I worked in a hospital much anymore. That's kind of part of the reason I got burnt out. It was, even though like I knew deep down why I was doing it, why I wanted to do it, it just didn't feel like I was being seen for that. You know, you can only be called names and money hungry and all that stuff so many times before you're just like, okay, fine, I am then. Yeah,
Got it. Appreciate you. You gonna sign this estimate, or what are we doing?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it still never leaves you. Like, I still want to do it. I think it was funny. I was at a hospital that I was training that week recently, and there was another hospital I had just opened kind of like 30 minutes down the road. It was an urgent care that we opened. And I walked in because I needed to pick up some stuff that I was going to transfer from this hospital to the one that we were opening. And they were short staffed, and they were like, "Can you help us?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll stay and help." ended up working like 4 hours as their ICU technician. And it was just like getting back into it. And then, I took a blood sugar on this dog that got into pot. Because I looked at the cat and I was like, that dog get into pot? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, looks like it. So they're like, can you take a blood sugar when the timer goes off? I said, yeah, no problem. And the assistant comes back and she goes, did you get that blood sugar? I was like, yeah, it's I wrote it in the smart flow chart. And she's like, you were able to get it by yourself? I was like, yeah. She's like, that dog hasn't let us get it by itself. I was like, I just took it from the back leg.
You're like, right here, just still got it.
I was like, you're welcome.
Can show you a thing or two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're like, stick around, kid. I gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll be here for a couple more hours.
Yeah, it was really funny, but yeah, it was like one of those things where it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Like, just point me where the supplies are. I'll find out the rest.
Exactly.
I know.
And the snacks.
Yep.
I got the rest.
And the snacks. That's all
The
I need.
snacks.
The snacks.
Snacks. Well, thank you so much, Krista, for taking the time out, coming on, talking about different paths of, the vet tech and outside of the clinic. And as always, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Like, comment, share, do all the things, please. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Yeah.